UFC Fight Night, Arman vs. Hooker just went down. Not Nina Drama, the Hooker and Arman. Arman vs. Dan Hooker just went down. Arman might deal with another Hooker later. Nina Drama. But anyway, what a great fight card. Stacked main event. Co-main event was amazing. All the rest of the fights on the main card were all finishes. Absolutely insane. The only fight that went to decision on the main card was the co-main event, and it was still a good fight because it was a true number one contender fight. Now, speaking of the main event and co-main event, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight in this recap. Just those two fights, not because I'm a casual, but because we now have the true number one contender in lightweight and welterweight, and they emerged after this fight card. It's no question, no doubt, Arman Tsarukyan and Ian Garry are the next title contenders for their divisions. Arman deserves the lightweight title shot. Ian Garry deserves the welterweight title shot. It's not even close. It's not even a question. So let's start with the main event. Arman vs. Hooker. I was hyped for this fight. Arman headbutted Hooker in the weigh-ins, hit his nose, but that had nothing to do with the result of this fight. Dan Hooker was doomed from the start. Arman got in there, started throwing body kicks at Dan Hooker, immediately started piecing him up with the right hand left hook. He was landing powerful shots on Dan's chin. He went 3-2, he went 2-3. Sure, Dan caught a couple of those kicks, but it didn't matter. Because anytime Dan had a moment, he would go for a guillotine against Arman. Has Dan Hooker never watched a Dustin Poirier fight? That shit doesn't work against these guys. Strikers can't tap out grapplers, not even with the guillotine. That's basically a Hail Mary. That's basically a shot in the dark. That's basically saying, you know what, I have no chance. Let me just go for this real quick and see if I can get a sub by luck. That's a 1 in a million chance. So right as Dan Hooker pulled guillotine, I knew that he was cooked. I knew the Hooker was cooked. Because Arman Gator rolled out of those guillotines just like that. In 2 seconds, he was out of them. I think Dan Hooker had about 3 guillotine attempts. It didn't matter for Arman. He Gator rolled out of it. He absolutely smashed the Hooker on the ground. Yes, Arman smashed a Hooker, and like I said, he's probably going to do that to another one tonight. But was just actually raining down ground and pound. Islam Makhachev, Hamza Chimaev, you guys would be blown away. I don't know if you guys watched this fight. But Arman, when he was on top, he didn't just hold them and cuddle them and caress them. Do you know what Arman did? It's this crazy new inventive thing. It's this new thing going around in MMA. It's a new move where when you get on top of somebody and you get full mount or side control or top half guard, you start raining down strikes. You throw punches. You throw elbows. You fucking throw your forearm at him. You throw hammer fists. It's this crazy new technique in MMA. It makes fights more exciting and it damages the opponent. It's crazy. It's a win-win. The fans love it, and it helps the fighter win even more impressively. So, Islam and Hamza. Arman was landing vicious ground and pound all over Dan Hooker's face, and it looked like Dan had a hematoma on his forehead. It's amazing what happens. This is what you're supposed to do when you're in a dominant position as a grappler. I know, it's this crazy thing. Hopefully Hamza and Islam know what ground and pound is now. Arman taught him. I mean, the Armenian had to teach him how to do it. It's literally just punch, punch, elbow, elbow, while still controlling from top. And it makes grappling exciting. That's how you do it. Shout out to Arman. This fight, the main event and co-main event alone were more exciting than UFC 322 as a whole. How about that? On a fight night. UFC Qatar. And I don't even think there was a women's fight on this card. We had ground and pound in the main event. We had no women's fights on this card. We had a co-main event that didn't include Valentina boring Shevchenko. Christmas came early. I felt spoiled. This is how it should always be. But anyway, Arman smashed the Hooker. Dan Hooker is cooked, just like Volk. I think Volk might as well just add him to the pan. Volk just might as well throw Dan Hooker in his recipe because Dan Hooker is cooked. All right? And Volk has no involvement in it. Arman was the chef today. All right? You heard of cooking with Volk. Well, Arman cooked Dan Hooker. Anyway. All right, we talked about the fight. Rewatch it. Utter domination. Complete mismatch. As expected. But this is the most interesting part about the fight. Arman wins. And he says, Ilia, stop running. If you're here, which we know he's there, come face off. Let's face off. Come face off with me. Crickets. Absolute crickets. Ilia Topuria, nowhere to be seen. He's gone in hiding. He's hiding in the woods. I don't know if he's hiding behind the shrubble. I don't know if he's hiding behind Hunter Campbell like he did at the weigh-ins. Or maybe Ilia Topuria is too busy trying to create a fake beef with Paddy Pimblett so he can fight the easiest contender in the division. Contender. Paddy Pimblett's not an easy fight, but the easiest contender. I mean, come on. Who would you put your money on to beat Ilia? Arman or Paddy? Arman had 17 months off, but it looked like he didn't miss a beat. No ring rust. More impressive on the ground than Islam Makhachev and Khamzat Chimaev combined. So Ilia's nowhere to be seen. Ilia, I thought you're the Spanish-Georgian superstar. I thought you're the king of promos. I thought you're the new McGregor. You faced off with Paddy Pimblett. Remember you faced off with Paddy Pimblett when you beat Charles Oliveira back in June and you took no damage and still haven't fought since? But remember that time where you faced off with Paddy Pimblett for absolutely no reason? How come you didn't do that with Arman? How come you didn't do that with Arman, Ilia? Where were you? Hiding behind Daddy Hunter Campbell or what? Come on, Ilia. You ducked Diego Lopez and Lerone Murphy at featherweight. You moved up, tricking us that an Islam Makhachev fight was brewing. Fought one fight win streak, Charles Oliveira for the belt, took no damage, and you haven't fought since June. And to top it off, Arman, the true number one contender, comes back and wins, and you're nowhere to be seen. I saw you everywhere all fight week, Ilia. I saw you at the weigh-ins hiding behind the UFC staff. I saw you at the fights there for your brother. But when Arman won, you go sprinting like Usain Bolt. Where were you? I thought you knew how to cut a promo. You could have faced off with Arman because Arman said, I'm ready to fight late January. Arman's ready to fight on the first Paramount pay-per-view against you. You haven't fought since June. July, August, September, October, November. 5 fucking months. And you won't even show your face and face off the true number one contender, Arman. That's some John Jones shit. This is some John Jones ducking Aspinall shit right here. And people might say, why are you talking trash about Ilia? This fight's gonna go down. Bullshit. Bullshit. If you believe for a second Ilia Topuria is gonna agree to fight Arman, you're smoking crack. I don't know what the fuck's going on with your brain. If you think Ilia Topuria is gonna accept a fight with Arman Tsarukyan, pass that joint over here. You think Ilia wants this? He didn't even face off with him. He didn't even tease the idea of him fighting Arman. He wants to fight Paddy. And I know Ilia Topuria can knock out 90% of the lightweight division, but that's still coward shit to duck the 10% or the 1% that you can't knock out in this division. And that's Arman. Arman is strong on top. He's heavy on top. Too big, too strong. He will definitely manhandle Topuria. I'm sorry. I know fights are unpredictable, but Ilia Topuria not showing up to the face-off told me everything I need to know about where these fighters are mentally. Arman was down. Where were you, Ilia? Where were you? Imagine if we had that face-off. Just imagine. How hyped would we be? We're already hyped because Arman won. And Ilia was nowhere to be seen. Why go to that fight card? Why do you think the UFC put your brother on the same fight card as Arman? Maybe so you could potentially face off with Arman and you have a reason to be there? Oh my God, you blew it. What the fuck were you in Qatar for? Just a corner? Your future opponent's right there and you ran away. Again, faced off with Paddy Pimblett. Ran away from Arman. Thank God Joe Rogan wasn't interviewing in the post-fight. He would have been like, Arman, who are you calling out? Arman would have been like, Topuria, he's running. Joe Rogan would have been like, you're talking about Paddy Pimblett. Even Paddy won't take the fight against Arman. Let's be real here. This is really what's going on. Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett are buddy-buddy. They're friends. And they want to create a fake beef so they can make money fighting each other. Ilia gets to fight the guy who's not much of a threat. And Paddy gets to fight Ilia for the big bucks. For the title. He gets to leapfrog the division. And most importantly, they both get to duck the #1 contender, Arman Tsarukyan. They're buddy-buddy behind the scene. They're both scared of Arman. They're both terrified. Arman looked super impressive. The call-out was nice. He couldn't have performed any better. He's probably going to perform with Nina after this fight. But man, what I want to talk about more, what I feel like the headline of tonight is, even more than Arman's win, is Ilia Topuria being a straight-up coward. Even his brother said he needs to defend at 155. I mean, how many passes can we let Topuria get away with? Duck the featherweights division. Duck the featherweights. Didn't fight Lopez. Didn't fight Murphy. Didn't fight Masvar. Only has one fight in lightweight and thinks he's the shit when he has 1 or 2 wins at lightweight. Arman has about 10 wins at lightweight. Arman has 5 times as many wins as you. Not 5 more wins than you at lightweight. 5 times as many wins as you at lightweight, Ilia. Shame, shame, shame. Shame on you, man. You ran away from the face-off. This wasn't even a fight. If Ilia won't show up to the face-off, why would he show up to the fight? That's my main takeaway. Wow. You want no part of Arman. You're going to duck and dodge and fight Paddy. And then we're all going to have to make a bunch of videos ranting about how much of a coward move that is. Arman did his job because Topuria went running. Do you guys really think Topuria is going to fight Arman? We know that's the fight. But are we really going to let Topuria get away with fighting Paddy Pimblett first? Please, if you're a fan of the sport, don't let this happen. Comment on the UFC page. Comment on Topuria's page. And say, fight Arman now. Put the pressure on him. The UFC listens to us, guys. We bullied the UFC into taking Bo Nickel off the main card of the last pay-per-view. We can bully the UFC into booking Ilia Topuria versus Arman Tsarukyan. End of story. I don't want to hear anything else. Arman is the man at lightweight. To me, there is no true champion at lightweight at the moment. Ilia fought Charles in June for a vacant belt? And he calls himself champ? I'm going to look at Ilia Topuria versus Arman Tsarukyan as the true title fight for the vacant lightweight belt. And that's how I see it. And I think Arman is going to win. I think he has a 60% chance to win. I'm giving Ilia Topuria a great chance still. He has a great chance to win. You know? But He's got more to lose. And I think that scares him. Like against Islam, he doesn't have as much to lose because Islam's pound for pound and Khabib's protege and double champ. So Ilia doesn't like to put it all on the line. And against Arman, he would have to put it all on the line. You see why we're only talking about the main and the co? Bottom line is, put the pressure on Ilia. Let's get Arman versus Ilia Topuria for the lightweight belt. And let's get this division rolling again. I don't hate Paddy Pimblett, but fuck Paddy Pimblett. Hanging around influencers at UFC Qatar. Hanging around iShowSpeed. Eating food. Dude, that doesn't warrant you a title shot. Why are you even allowed at UFC Qatar, Paddy? You haven't fought since April. That's embarrassing. Shame on the UFC for even letting him at a UFC event without actually competing in it. Sitting on your ass. That's the last thing the lightweight division needs. Shout out to Arman. He beat one hooker. He's going to be on to his next tonight. Moving on to the co-main event. Almost the same situation here, guys. Wow. I'll admit it. I was an Ian Garry hater. But now I'm kind of turning the tide. I'm switching my opinion on Ian Garry. I cannot fucking believe it. I know. This is crazy. I never thought I would be pulling for Ian Garry to get a title fight. But damn it, he deserves it. Not because he had the most exciting fight of the night. It wasn't boring by any means. But after all the entitled pussies I've been watching in the welterweight division, who expect title shots like Usman and Morales, no, I don't think so. Ian Garry is the one putting in the most work out of everybody. He just beat #1 contender Belal Muhammad. Let's talk about it. Belal lost every round. Round 2 being the closest, but Belal lost every round. Ian Garry beat him with the jab. He landed that right hand over and over on Belal's big melon head. He landed low kicks every time Ian Garry landed a leg kick. Belal Muhammad dropped to his ass. Belal Muhammad got busted up. He did get eye poked in round 1, but guess what? I don't even blame the fighters anymore. I'm encouraging you guys. Please keep eye poking. The UFC will do nothing, so I don't give a fuck. Until the UFC takes a point, I advise the fighters to poke away. The UFC doesn't do shit. If I was a fighter in the UFC, I would gouge everyone's eyes out because the UFC rewards it and they don't punish you. So have at it. That's not Ian Garry's fault. That's on the UFC to take points away. So Ian Garry whooped Belal's ass in round 1 with leg kicks and straight punches. There might have been an eye poke. Belal continued. Round 2, more of the same. Belal starts failing more and more takedowns. Belal didn't land one takedown, by the way. Wasn't even close. Ian Garry has the best takedown defense I've ever seen out of anyone in welterweight. Name someone right now you could think of off the top of your head with better takedown defense. Anyway, Belal Muhammad faked getting eye poked in round 2. Ian Garry went 2 fists to the eyes. Ian Garry, for some reason, had both fists extended out, and his knuckles landed in Belal's eyes. And Belal was already cut up below the eye. And he's like, oh, my eye. Trying to be an actor, all right? You guys thought Aspinall was acting. He actually got poked. Belal, he took the knuckle to the eye. It probably hurt. It probably affected him. It probably felt like a poke. But he didn't get poked. I saw the replay. And what happens the rest of round 2? Belal's failing takedowns. Ian Garry's using his reach. Using that knee stomp kick. A lot of moves Ian Garry was doing. Getting off the wall. Spinning Belal around. Killing him with the jab and the cross. He even threw a snap kick to the chin of Belal. And then round 3, it gets even more dominant. Belal thinks takedowns in round 3 are going to win him the fight after he's down 2 rounds to 0. Belal thinks a takedown's going to win the fight. So Belal's trying and trying and trying to get a takedown and double underhooks. He even gets double underhooks and still can't get a takedown. Ian Garry is the biggest threat at welterweight for Islam Makhachev. It's no question. Michael Morales only beat Gilbert Burns and Brady. Okay? He won an Apex fight against Old Burns and just beat Brady. We haven't seen him tested, and he just popped up out of nowhere. He needs one more. Shavkat's been out for a year. This is a fast-changing sport. This is a recency, what have you done for me lately sport. You don't deserve it, buddy. Usman, he's on a 3-fight losing streak and just beat Buckley, and your knees are shot. He doesn't deserve it. Prates is awesome, but Ian Garry beat Prates and has gathered another win against the #1 contender since then. So, and style-wise, it makes the most sense. Ian Garry has the best style to beat Islam because of the takedown defense, the fight IQ, the range, the distance control, the striking, the experience, the hunger, the motivation, the youth. And not only that, we get to watch the knockoff Conor McGregor versus Khabib fight, right? Think about it. Irish Ian Garry versus Dagestan Islam Makhachev. It works. It works. Now, Ian Garry deserves it, and I think the same thing's going to happen. You know how I said Ilia's going to duck Arman? Just watch. Islam Makhachev is going to duck Ian Garry. Just so you guys know, I'm not a Ilia Topuria hater. I'm saying Islam Makhachev is going to duck the rightful #1 contender as well. And just so you guys don't think I hate Islam Makhachev only, the Dagestan fighter, I'm claiming that Ilia Topuria is going to duck as well as Islam. Both of them. Both these pound-for-pound guys with double belts are going to duck. Why do I say that about this co-main event? Why do I say that Islam's going to duck Ian Garry? Because Ali Abdelaziz wants his two fighters to fight each other so he makes more money. And Islam is going to be on board because Usman's a has-been with his knees are shot. He's a big name who's irrelevant, right? He's irrelevant as far as being a title contender. He's irrelevant as far as having a win streak. His losses to Leon are not aging well at all. All right? And Islam Makhachev would love a fight against a wrestler whose knees are shot, who has a 1-fight win streak against Buckley. Someone who doesn't have the striking of Ian Garry. Someone who is literally just not improving like Ian Garry. Usman had his time. He's not improving anymore. Not saying he's getting worse, but Usman just sits on his ass, and Islam is kind of buddy-buddy with him because of Ali Abdelaziz, same manager. That's a freebie for Islam. All right? So, it's time to put these double champs to the test and hold them accountable. If you really think you're #1 pound for pound, Ilia and Islam, if you really think you're the true double champ, Ilia and Islam, if you really want to fight each other and make it a mega fight, Ilia and Islam, beat the true #1 contenders in your division first. Ilia just won the lightweight belt, hasn't defended it. Islam just won the welterweight belt, hasn't defended it. Ilia defend against Arman, and Islam defend against Ian Garry. And if you guys win those fights, you guys can fight each other. But Ian Garry's definitely the worst matchup for Islam. On top of that, he deserves it the most. He's putting in the most work. He's done everything right except a stinker of a fight against Shavkat, where he even took Shavkat's back. That fight was just not good. I don't care who won that fight. I don't even remember it. I erased it from my brain. But he redeemed himself by beating Prates. Yes, he crawled his way to survival in round 5, but he still beat Prates. That age, That win is aging perfectly. Prates is on a win streak, knocking everyone out again. And then he just beat the number one contender, Belal. Every round, 3-0. Jack got taken down against Belal. Ian Garry wasn't even close to getting taken down. He wasn't asked to grass. He never hit the canvas once. I think Ian Garry's fight IQ, his improvement, he said he's willing to go to Georgia to learn his judo and wrestling even more to beat Islam. I think Ian Garry can beat Islam. And this is my prediction. I'm not predicting the fights, but I'm predicting Ilia ducks Arman and fights Paddy. And I'm predicting Islam ducks Ian Garry and fights Usman. And we can't let that happen. Because Ian Garry did his job tonight. He deserves it. Arman did his job tonight. He deserves it. We got 2 number 1 contenders. But the saddest part is, Islam Makhachev, where were you at to face off with Ian Garry? Ilia Topuria, where were you at to face off with Arman? I'm sick of people becoming double champion and turning all pansy and thinking they're above fighting anybody who's a threat to them and creating a fake narrative that there's a better option out there. I don't care what's better for your pockets. I care what's better for the fans and the sport and for the title fights. You know? And as far as Paddy and Usman go, who I'm predicting to get the next title shot, I hope they don't. I don't hate you guys. Paddy, if you beat Gaethje, if you beat Charles, you get the next title shot. Usman, if you would have fought Belal, or if you beat Shavkat, or if you beat Prates, you get the next title shot. It's that simple. You guys are 1 win away from a title fight. Let's not make this sport a joke again in 2026. Let's right all the wrongs we've had this year. I've never seen so many undeserved title fights up until 2025. Let's learn from all the mistakes we've had this year in 2025, and let's correct them and get the rightful number 1 contenders to fight for these belts in 2026. What do you guys think? That would be fun. I would love to see the knockoff McGregor versus Khabib fight and Ian Garry versus Islam Makhachev. And I would love to see the knockoff McGregor versus Khabib fight again in Arman versus Ilia Topuria. If you think about it, all these fights kind of remind us of Khabib versus McGregor. That truly was the biggest fight in the sport. Because every big fight now, I'm like, wow, this is the Temu version of McGregor versus Khabib, you know? What else? This card was great. But the main event and co-main event, just having fighters like this, fighting for true number 1 contender fights, is what it's all about, you know? Now, Arman looked the most impressive. He smashed Dan Hooker. But Ian Garry looked pretty damn impressive because Belal Muhammad is more of a threat to Ian Garry than Dan Hooker is a threat to Arman Tsarukyan, you know? But great fight card. Great fight card. I hope we get these next title fights announced soon. These are huge fights. Imagine Islam versus Garry. Imagine Ilia versus Arman. I don't know what fight would be bigger. I don't. I really don't. Not only that, Ian Garry's kind of winning me over because he's calling out Usman for being a bitch. He's calling out Michael Morales for being a flash in the pan, acting entitled. He's giving respect to Prates, but saying I beat Prates. And we're both on the same win streak, so it's a no-brainer who we're going to give the title fight to. Ian Garry, right? And not only that, he had a scuffle with Khamzat backstage after his win. Khamzat Chimaev, all right? The most boring middleweight fighter in the world right now. Even more boring than Strickland. Ian Garry was just congratulating Arman, another fellow number 1 contender. Hey, congrats on your fight, man. Khamzat acts cool. Security gets in the way between Arman and Ian. and nothing's going on, just because Ian Garry is standing 2 feet away from Khamzat, security's like, and Ian Garry's like, what are you doing, bro? We're just chilling. And after Ian Garry said, we're just chilling, Khamzat starts acting tough around the cameras and shoves Ian Garry. And Ian Garry shows class. He's like, that's not called for. You're a champion, bro. Act like one. Act like a champion, man. And he's like, Arman, congrats to you. I just wanted to tell you congrats. I don't know why this guy's shoving me for no reason. I was just wanted to pay respect to another fellow #1 contender. And Arman was kind of embarrassed, like, what's Khamzat doing? And Arman was like, yeah, Ian, yeah, thank you. And Ian Garry at the post-fight press conference said Khamzat has little dick energy. That was funny. He's winning me over. Ian Garry has spit nothing but facts this fight week and post-fight interviews. He had a very interesting post-fight press conference. Very interesting. He's saying all the right things. He won me over. I'm not going to talk shit about you anymore that much, Ian Garry. Can't believe I'm saying that. I hated Ian Garry after that boring Shavkat fight. But hey, I'm keeping it real. I'm calling it how it is. Things change. He won me over. And this was a sick card. I think I went over the main and the co-main event perfectly. Ozdemir smoked Menefield. People forget, man, Ozdemir was pressuring Carlos Ulberg and had a close 3-round decision with him. Jack Hermanson got knocked out by the caveman. Oral by. He looks like he's from the fucking Stone Age. He looks like an Eskimo. He looks like he's from the Flintstones. A 55er knocked out a 185er. Let me say that again. A former lightweight knocked out a former middleweight. Crazy. That overhand right to the fake takedown attempt is money. His overhand right is nasty. It's nasty. This guy's always in an exciting fight, Oral by. The caveman, I call him. He fought Rebecca in a war. He just knocked out Hermanson, just as bad as RoboCop. And guess what? This was at welterweight, the most stacked division. This division's even more stacked. Give Oral by the caveman someone ranked number 15 through number 11 at welterweight. Give him Gilbert Burns. Give him a top welterweight fighter, ranked 11 through 15, right? He deserves it. Let's make welterweight even more stacked. I'm all for it. Shout out to the caveman. Whoa! I know I said I'm just going to talk about the main and the co-main, but I changed my fucking mind. Waldo Acosta stepped up on short notice and knocked out the Blob Gaziv. Now, I wasn't impressed with that eye poke scenario. I thought it was just a gimmick fight to mock Aspinall, and it probably was. But he pushed through an eye poke and knocked out Aspinall's teammate. Then he steps up on short notice and fights the Blob Gaziv, knocks him out in round 1, picks him apart with the jab, throws multiple overhand rights, and knocks out the Blob Gaziv. And he falls to the ground like a sack of potatoes. He got smashed like a piñata. And then Waldo Acosta wins the fans over even more. He throws an eye patch on with Michael Bisping to mock Aspinall. But that's not how he won the fans over. He said, I'm ready to fight December 13th before the end of the year. The dude already has 5 fights within this year of 2025. In 2025, this heavyweight has fought 5 times and won them all except Sergey Pavlovich decision loss, where he was still in the fight the whole time. And Sergey Pavlovich is pretty dangerous. We got a serious, exciting contender here. Salsa Boy. He is now getting the respect and attention from the fans and the roster. I love this guy is fighting more than Merab. I love that this guy's fighting more than Merab. And I know he's not fighting title fights. That's a different story. But still, he's going to make me a fan. He's going to make me a fan. And he called out Aspinall again. I'm an Aspinall fan, but that's kind of funny. I'm becoming a Waldo fan. Now, I know we all know about Where's Waldo, the famous book when we were a kid. But now with this guy, this Waldo is everywhere. We don't got to say Where's Waldo. You know who the Where's Waldo fighters are? Ilia Topuria. Where's Ilia? He's the new Where's Waldo because he's the one hiding all fucking fight week. Hiding from everybody. This Waldo, the real Waldo, we don't ever have to say Where's Waldo. We always know where he's at. He's in the fucking octagon putting in work. Take note. Take note. What a beast. What a savage. I'm a fan now. He wants to fight on that shitty Apex card. Throw him on there. Actually, throw him on the pay-per-view 323. We need more spice. We need to spice that card up a little bit. And how do you spice something up? You add a little salsa. That's a knee slapper. All right, moving on. Oh, Tiger got smoked by Horiguchi. He got smoked. The Russian fighter got submitted and put to sleep. Horiguchi was fucking him up on the feet with the hands, with the kicks, with the knees, everything. The kitchen sink. And he tapped out Tiger in round 3, I think it was. He was already winning the fight. And then he got the finish to put the cherry on top. And he hasn't been in the UFC in 9 years. His last fight in the UFC was a title fight against DJ. DJ, I know why you're retired now. You're scared of Horiguchi. You're scared of the rematch, huh? Or are you just scared of collabing with MMA Guru? I kind of lost respect for DJ. I was going to say, how good does Demetrius Johnson look after this Horiguchi win? But, I don't know, man. Demetrius Johnson, what's been going on with you, man? You're mad over a MMA YouTuber saying a couple of mean words about Islam Makhachev? But you're still buddy-buddy with Team Khabib after jumping? Whether the fighter they jumped, Dylan Dennis, is an annoying prick or not, you can remain friends with Team Khabib, who jumped Dylan Dennis and hit him with multiple back-of-the-head shots. But you're going to go on air and release a video publicly saying, I would whoop my kid's ass if they talked like how Guru did. Okay. But jumping someone and hitting them in the back of the head is acceptable behavior. And you won't cut ties with them. You won't cut ties with Team Khabib for giving someone brain damage in the back of the head and jumping someone like cowards 10-on-1. But yeah, let's cut off. Anyway, that's a different topic. That's a different topic. What else? Yeah, that's the card. Alexandre Topuria. I actually missed this fight, but I did pick him to win a unanimous decision. I did. And he did. I didn't watch the fight. I'm guessing it wasn't the best because I know Topuria is a very patient fighter. Alexandre Topuria. So, I'll probably rewatch it. But I want to see Alexandre Topuria fight Bryce Mitchell next. Give Bryce Mitchell a crack at a Topuria fighter again. But yeah, guys, that's my breakdown of this awesome, amazing fight card. Shout out to Arman Tsarukyan. Shout out to Ian Garry. And as far as the double champs of the sport right now, I'm very disappointed in the ducking. What in the John Jones is going on with Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev? Let's end this coward ducking shit going into 2026. I can't believe I'm starting to be on the Ian Garry side right now. I can't believe I'm actually pulling for Garry to get this title shot. I guess that shows how real I am, how down the line and down the middle I call it. I'm just being real. I'm just being real. And fighters can win you over, and sometimes it's okay to admit, hey, I thought this guy was annoying. I didn't like this fighter, but now he won me over. He gained my respect. Not that Ian Garry cares if he gained my respect, but, you know, I'm just calling it how it is. Arman gets the next title fight at 55. And Garry gets the next title fight at 70. But my prediction remains the same. The double champs are going to duck the true number one contenders. And we're sadly going to get Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia Topuria for the lightweight belt. And we're sadly going to get Islam Makhachev versus Kamaru Usman for the lightweight belt. All right? And one last thing before I go. Where's Ilia? Where's Ilia and Islam at? Where are they at? Where are they at? Hold on. I'm going to be going live tonight. I'm going to be interviewing Islam Makhachev. And then I'm going to be interviewing Ilia Topuria. And we're going to talk about why they keep ducking the number one contenders and why they're not mentioning the names of the rightful number one contenders in their division. I'm going to go live tonight probably. So thanks for joining me, Ilia. Thanks for joining me, Islam. I only got like 300 subscribers and I get interviews with the double champs, all right? How lucky am I? All right. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.